Now, on this video, I'm going to show you exactly why actually buying land may not be necessarily the best idea out there. All right. And guess what? This is that information that nobody shares with you, especially those guys who are selling you lands. And I know it's your dream. I know you're working as much as you can and you want to acquire that piece of land. By the way, if you're watching this from outside the Kenya, I mean, Kenyans, we have that crazy love of having a land so that we can build our home. But sometimes this may not be the best investment method that you can ever have. All right. And I'm going to justify myself. And I know right now you already have a rage in your head and you're like, damn, what did you just say? Yeah, I understand. First of all, let's put our emotions aside. Let's be logical and approach this video with the utmost intelligence so that you absorb the maximum information. All right. Let me tell you one thing. I know change is a challenge, but if you can grab something at the end of the day, you can change your life. And by the way, if you're watching me for the first time, my name is Joseph. I talk about money, investment, anything related to exactly that at all the time. And by the way, guess what? I know you'll be happy about this video. And by the way, if you don't want to miss my good videos in the future, do this. It does not cost you anything. Just below there is a small button written subscribe. Hit that magical button and like this video. Yeah, I am waiting for thank you for doing that. Now let's get to the business. Now here we are. Okay, there's one thing that you're supposed to understand. There are two things. Okay, two things. One, there's something called cash flow. Cash flow. Two, we have something called asset. Guess what? All of these are important, but sometimes one is not necessary. Just because something is important does not mean it is necessary at that particular moment. Okay, now when you get paid, that money that you have, it is called cash flow. That ability of you going out there and buying. For example, if today you want to buy, say, like this watch, you don't need an asset, you need cash. For example, if you go to shop in a shopping, let's say you go to the supermarket, you don't shop with a title deed, you shop with cash. That's why they say cash is king. Cash is what? Cash is king. Okay, now me saying sometimes buying a piece of land may not be the best idea. It depends on where you are. For example, let's have an individual here who just got employed. All right, maybe you graduated, or maybe you just got an opportunity, or maybe you employ yourself and you got a certain amount of money. Let's say you have an access of 1 million. Okay, you have an access of 1 million for your first time in your life. You have accessed the 1 million, Bob. You've never gotten that amount of money and you have it somewhere. All right, guess what? There is this traditional advice. Hey, you know what? Go grab a piece of land. Make sure that you buy a piece of land. The only way they identify you as a man is you having a piece of land. If you can tell somebody have millions, they ask you, do you have a piece of land? And you tell them no, they don't believe you are rich. Or have you built your own home? And you tell them no, they don't believe that you're rich. Let me tell you one secret. It has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with you. Now, the moment this guy now accesses this 1 million, Bob, let's say maybe you employ yourself, you have saved to a point whereby you have your 1 million. Or the other way around, say you have been employed and you have, like, let's say a salary of what, like say 55,000 or maybe less than that. And then the bank tells you, hey, now because you have employed, we can actually give you a loan or even up to 1 million or sometimes 1.2 million for you to actually go out there and do what? Buy an asset, which is a land in this case, because that is the first thing that rings to people when they get money. Now, the question is this: what are you getting after acquiring these two things? Number one, say this guy, and I'm going to use a real examples of people who calls me. All right. For example, you've gone ahead, you have this a salary of 55,000. You've been given a loan to buy a piece of land. No, you rush, go buy a piece of land. Guess what? Probably 1 million Kenyan shillings in Kenya will get you a relatively okay place. It's not quite a very, very developed place, but quite of a good place. It's a good place. It's a presentable place. Now, the fact remains, you do not have any other thing money. You do not have the ability to value add in that specific piece of land. To value add, you do not have the capacity. Therefore, it means that amount of money or that piece of land that you've acquired is close to what we call a dead capital. It's close to what? A dead capital. Or let me just call it inactive capital. Inactive capital. It is not generating anything. It's an asset, yes, and it's not generating anything. And remember one thing, in life things are classified into two. Why? Number one, there is one, whenever you have money, depends on your age, there are two ways. A is either you want to what? To grow money. Is either you want to grow money, and B, you want to do what? To store money. You want to store money, all right? See, when you are young, you focus on growing money. You want to multiply it, grow it, expand yourself. So by the time now you're becoming old, you want to secure money, to absorb it, to store it. That's why you find most of the old people get to real estate, building houses. Not because that it's gonna break even within their lifetime. No, they do so just because they want to secure their property and such kind of things. Now, at this particular case, the first time you've accessed this $1 million bob, be it either you saving it or maybe through a loan, you acquire this piece of land. This piece of land, it does not generate anything. You cannot build any rentals out there. That piece of land, you cannot even do farming. Why? Because it's 50 by 100, 50 by 100, 50 by 100. Even if you were to do farming, I think maybe you harvest 1 bag of, or 2 bag or 3 bag or something. It's not really, you cannot really do that really special thing unless you have a lot of money. You can do some dairy farming or something also. But the question is this: you've acquired a loan of 1 million, and you've acquired a piece of property which is worth 1 million, and guess where you are actually servicing that loan from? You are servicing that loan from 55,000 Kenyan shillings that you're earning as a salary. And guess what they tell you? Hey, guess what? For you to actually go ahead and repay this money back, we need 25,000 Kenyan shillings at the end of the month. Guess what happens now? You shift all the way. This was your cash flow of 55,000. Now 55,000 subtract 25,000, you're remaining with 30,000. That is the amount of money that gets in. Okay? Guess what has happened? You have actually constricted. You have pressed your cash flow in the name of acquiring an asset that is not generating any capital. It's true. Now, what happened is that obviously you have to really struggle out there, because the guy who called me told me, hey, guess what, Joseph, I'm earning 55,000. I'm supposed to part ways with 25 Gs at the end of the month for me to acquire this property. And probably the payment goes, let's say, for like 3 years or 4 years. Let's say it goes for 4 years. Okay? Say it goes for 4 years. Now, if it goes for 4 years, now guess what? It takes you 4 years to acquire 1 million piece of property. And I know you're about to tell me something, but the land is appreciating. Let me just break that myth for you right now before your eyes. Now, right now in Kenya, as we speak right now, the inflation is around 7.2%. You can check it out. Actually, it was around 7.67%. Okay, let me just use the other pen for the purposes of us seeing what I'm actually writing out there. Now, the point is this: right now, as we speak, the inflation in Kenya is around is around 7.6%. Did you know that the lands in Kenya appreciates at a rate of 7%? 7% per year. Did you know that? Lands appreciate at a rate of 7% per year. Now, the inflation is at 7.6% per year. So you are at negative 0.6. So is your land appreciating, or what's happening? And remember one thing, you just tell me whether you're winning or you're not winning. The inflation is around 7.6%. The land is appreciating at 7%. Okay, this is the average way the lands usually appreciate, unless a crazy thing happens in that specific location. Maybe like, let's say the area was not tarmacked, all of a sudden the government tarmacks that area, the land can actually appreciate up to even 30%, or sometimes even 40%. Sometimes it can even double the price, okay? But at what often does that happen? Now, here, remember, there is an inflation of 7.6%. The land appreciates at 7%. And remember one thing, this loan that you're paying, obviously you won't pay this amount of money. There is an interest. Therefore, it means probably the interest here sometimes is not that the best one. Maybe you are getting at an interest of 14%. I mean, seriously, by the time you talk of 4 years, have you gained or have you lost? You've been beaten by the inflation because you've seen you're operating on 0.6%, and this amount of money, again, you're paying it with an interest of, say, 14%. Even if it's a reducing balance, the point remains you're actually not an winning end. So now the question is this: say now you didn't acquire this money through a loan. Here you have your $1 million bob. You've gone out there and you've bought yourself a piece of property. Now, this piece of property, yeah, I know you'll send me the idea of it is increasing, but you have actually debunked that theory. I know right now the inflation in Kenya is a little bit crazy. In most cases, the inflation in Kenya is around 5%. But they usually try to pull it up to 4.2%. But still, an average one is like 5%. The land appreciates at 7%. Now, the question is this: you're only getting a 2% increment per year from the land. Now, the question is this: what if you were to take the similar amount of money, which is $1 million bob? Because honestly speaking, I do not deny people buying piece of land. It's okay, you can go ahead and buy that piece of land. But the question is this: are you getting the best deal? So, for example, you take that amount of money, you put it in a money market fund, or you put it in a treasury bill. A money market fund right now is giving you a 10% after the deductions. Right now, most of the money market fund pays around 13%. So the 3% say goes towards the settlement of the taxes, the whatever, and all those kind of things. You remain with the 10%. 10% of $1 million bob, you have 100K at the end of the year. You have 100K at the end of the year. Now, in case of land, going by the rate of 2, You can just imagine what's happening out there. You have your 20,000 on top of the 1 million bob that you had. So between these two individuals, who is winning? Yeah, I know they're about to tell me, hey, you know what? The land is a physical thing. It would be there. It would be, what we call, it is secure, nobody can take it out there, compared to me investing on treasury bonds. What if those companies fail? Now, those are languages of failures. The moment you hear somebody, yeah, I know you're supposed to be considerate on matters to do with that. You know, there was a time I tried to come up with a group with somebody and some people. That's why I hate groups and sometimes associating with people, because I feel my energy is being dragged. You try to tell somebody, hey, we can open a certain things, and somebody was telling me, oh, that circle will be closed. I don't know what. Up to date is still open. You see, sometimes it's good to ask yourself, hey, which deal am I getting the best? Now, here you have your 1 million bob. Now, at this particular point, if you're a business person, if you're actually earning something right now, you are a young person, you have access to your million bob the first time. Should you go towards having a piece of land that you cannot be able even to build, even your own home? Or should you even think of how you can actually expand and grow this amount of money? You know what? The moment you take this money and put it in a land which is growing 7%, assuming even there were no inflation, the land is growing at this percentage. Okay? Now, the question is this: do you really need to store the money, or do you need to grow the money? And is getting land at that particular period or at that particular time the best idea for you? Say you got this a million bob at 27, 28, at 30, at 32, at 33. Seriously, is it the best thing that you can ever do? Should you even think about, hey, I have a million bob? Now, let me tell you one secret. This money that you get, view it as a capital, as ability for you to make more money that you're making. And I do not who told people that money should be viewed as a commodity to be stored and secured and be held dearly and behave as if it's in scarcity commodity out there. Money should be viewed as that tool to help you make more of it. That's for sure. Say you have an existing business. Let's say you sell spare parts. You've actually accessed their million bob. Would you even think about getting that piece of land as not generating anything? Or would you think about expanding the businesses out there? And again, I know what you're thinking. All the businesses can fail, but they lack. You see, that idea of surety about life is what puts people into slavery. You keep on rotating the same area. You've acquired a... Have you ever not seen as an individual who has a piece of land, but they cannot be able to eat or not dress? That's for sure. It is true. And again, you see, a land is that asset that you cannot liquidate it within a click of a finger. You cannot be able to, a snap of a finger. You cannot be able to do that. So it is good to make sure that at least you ask yourself, is actually getting my money into treasury bills, treasury bonds, or money market fund, or maybe in a quite of a good stable circle where I'm getting dividends at the end of the year, to a point whereby I can elevate myself and grow my money. Once I grow my money, I have the capacity. And let me tell you one secret as I finish this video. This is why you find most of the rich people benefit from these institutions that are lending money. You have your own 55,000 Kenyan amount of money as your salary. You show up to a bank, they tell you maximum you can get is 1 million. You go get that 1 million and buy a piece of property, and you're repaying that piece of property, which does not generate any cash flow from your salary. So you have actually sacrificed your cash flow for the sake of acquisition of what? Of an asset. Now, what happens? A rich person shows up to this place. Instead of getting 1 million, they get 10. So once they get 10, they don't get a 1 million piece of property. No, they get a 2 million one. And once you get a 2 million in Kenya, at least you get a good of a place. Now, the remaining 8 million, they actually go ahead and build a what? The rental houses. Now, guess what? They do not use their salary to repay back the loan. What they use is that what they have built or value added in that piece of property to repay back the loan. And that is the difference, because the principle of you getting a loan is to put it in a somewhere which is generating. It's an asset, yes, it's an asset that's generating cash flow. That cash flow is the one that will help you to repay back the loan. But now you're taking the asset which is not generating any cash flow, and you're relying with your salary, your active engagement where you're being employed to repay back that loan. Do you guys understand the whole concept of this? I know some of you will get, some of you won't get it, but the point is this. This is my disclaimer as I end this video. I did not in any way say people should not buy piece of lands. No, I would say this is 21st century. Things are changing. Areas of investments are becoming more dynamic. There are more areas and expanded areas. I know the baby boomers who are watching this video. When I say baby boomers, I mean people who are aged like 45, 50, 60 and above. They will think like I'm the worst person that this world will ever have by telling people not to buy land. I did not say people should not buy land. What I meant is, what do you need at that particular point? There is no way, for example, at my age, you cannot position me or front me with an individual who was at 55 and you tell us we should think the same. It's my first time I'm accessing 1 million. It's the first time this guy is accessing the first million. This guy is thinking about how to can come up with a home, because probably he's being called what we call a grandfather or something of sort. Is a such kind of a thing. So we have two different perceptions. For me, I'm thinking how I can grow my money. For him, he's thinking on the way he can actually secure it, acquire a piece of property, probably build in some few plots, in a few units in an existing plot or something of sort. So you have to understand, what exactly are you looking forward? Is it growing money or is it storing money? So the moment you understand what you need, therefore you'll pick the best deal out there. And let me tell you one thing. Whenever you go out there to buy that piece of land, ask yourself, have you exhausted all the best options on the table? Is it the best option that you have on the table? What do I mean by that? Like, is it the best deal I can ever get? Yes, it is the best deal I can ever get. Then go ahead and acquire that piece of land. Is it the thing that I need right now? Let's go ahead and acquire that piece of land. I love piece of lands. I love it. I encourage people to buy it on the basis of them justifying themselves whether it's the best thing that they're getting in town. That is my disclaimer. I did not say buying a piece of land is not good. I said may not be the best based on where you are. And before you even comment on the comment section, just think about what you're about to comment. And when you comment, you already know you can justify your comment on that comment section. Anyway, my comment section is open for the discussion. And for those who have seen the idea, tell me you've seen the idea. For now, it's a goodbye. But don't forget, you can always pick my number from the description of this specific video. And let's have a good discussion. I offer those services at a cup of coffee's price. And again, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like the video, and see you in the next one. And see you in the next one. I mean, seriously, see you in the next one.